Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Daily Rates Live with the Mortgage Calculator. Today, we're going to be talking about ITIN Borrower Loans. Give us just a moment here to go live on all the different platforms. Appreciate everybody tuning in nice and early. We'll get started here in just a moment. Great topic here today to kind of expand on what we were going over earlier this week with foreign nationals. A little bit different here, twist to that. So we'll get started here shortly. Appreciate everybody tuning in nice and early. All right, some comments coming in there. We appreciate it. Looks like we're live on all the platforms, so we'll go ahead and get started. What we'll do is we'll take the chat off the screen for now, but go ahead and keep dropping comments there in the chat. You can also drop any questions you have in the chat as we go through the presentation here today. All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Kyle Hershey. I'm the COO of the Mortgage Calculator, joined here by our president, Nick Hershey, and our COO, Jose Gonzalez. We are a non-QM loans, and what we do every weekday on the show at 11 a.m. Eastern is go through our actual live mortgage rates, and then we do a deep dive into a different loan type. Today's loan type is going to be ITIN borrowers. We talked about foreign nationals yesterday. Today we'll be talking about ITIN. So before we do that, though, we'll go into our rates. So Nick, if you're ready, let's go ahead and check out today's rates and see what they are looking like.
All right. Lots of news as usual. Markets reacting a little up, a little down every single day with different news. But again, the general trend is down, which is good. So we'll pull up our rates for today. It is August 15th, just after 11 a.m. Eastern. So our first initial rate sheets are live for all of our standard programs here. We will compare them all across the different programs. If you'd like a full breakdown, an itemized loan estimate with all the fees that go into the APR, please get with our team members. They'd be happy to help you out. For the demo, we'll set up a standard scenario so that we can compare across the programs. We'll set up a single family home, a $500,000 purchase, $400,000 loan amount. That corresponds to 20% down payment, 80% loan to value. We'll set everything to an estimated 760 credit score and an estimated 40% debt to income ratio. So those are our basic settings that we use. Let's go ahead and check the rates today. So again, yesterday we saw some downward momentum after the show, so we're still seeing that pick up. The news today isn't so great, but hopefully it doesn't affect the rates too much. First up here, 30-year fixed conventional, a little lower than yesterday. It's great, 6% rate. Final APR at 6.312 for our standard 30-year fixed conventional. Now, if for any reason our customer doesn't qualify for a conventional option, typically the next option we want to compare is an FHA option. FHA allows more leniency on credit issues, as well as a much higher debt to income ratio, but does require upfront and yearly mortgage insurance. FHA comes in today, 5.125, final APR is 6.088. So if our customer qualifies for both, FHA might be a good option if they're willing to do the mortgage insurance. And if our customer needs to use it, definitely a great option. Now moving on to our VA options. VA is only for eligible vets and active service members. If you are eligible, these are amazing options. Coming in today at 5.5%. Final APR 5.775 with a standard funding fee. And notice if our customer qualifies for VA, that's going to be better than FHA and conventional. So definitely take advantage for our vets. And the final standard option here, government option, USDA, only for properties in USDA areas, the rural areas. If our property is eligible and our customer is eligible, these are good options to check out. Coming in today, 5.375 rate, final APR 6.089 with all the fees included. So our customer is probably going to compare that to an FHA if they're shopping in the USDA area. Usually USDA is a touch cheaper. Today it's just a couple pennies more, but definitely take a look. And it's definitely going to be cheaper than conventional if our property qualifies in this situation when we're comparing side by side. Now that rounds out the standard options that any bank or lender can have. But if our customer doesn't qualify, they may have to deny that customer. But we have 5,000 other options. First up here, our 30-year fixed non-QM alt doc option. So if customer doesn't qualify with full 2 years tax return, standard documentation needed, needs to use alt docs, switch to this option. We can use bank statements, 1099s, P&Ls, and similar. This option here, usually a bank statement is the lowest option, 6.625 rate. Final APR 6.951. So we're within just a touch more than half a point, which is typical, to switch to alternative docs. So very reasonable for our customers that need to use it. This is a great option. And moving on to our alt doc for investors. We have tons of flexibility for investors for all of our special programs. First up, our non-QM alt doc, so bank statements, 1099s, etc. Rates as low as 7% today. Final APR 7.35 for investment properties. And we'll compare that to our other investor options. First up, the conventional option coming in today at 6.75 rate. Final APR 7.095. Nice to see that go down. And it's beating our non-QM, which is awesome. So our customers that want to use conventional, remember there are no government programs, but we do have our conventional. But we recommend all of our investors check out DSCR, our favorite programs. DSCR stands for debt service coverage ratio. No income needed, no employment documents needed. Simply use the rents from the appraisal, the estimated rents, to determine a DSCR value. The estimated rents can cover the estimated expenses. That's a ratio of 1 or higher, aka the property cash flows positively monthly. And for all our demos here, we use a ratio of 1.5 so we could see all the most popular programs. First up here is our 3-year prepayment penalty option, which is standard for DSCR. Rates as low as 6.625 today. Final APR 6.926. So a touch cheaper than conventional. Absolutely amazing. And we can sweeten the deal with a 5-year prepayment penalty for some of our programs. Rates as low as 6.375. Final APR 6.707. So beating conventional by quite a bit. And the final DSCR option is a no prepayment penalty option. So some states don't allow one and some investors prefer not to have one. That's not a problem. Rates today come in at 7.125. Final APR 7.466. So a good option for our customers. It's just a touch more expensive than conventional to use the DSCR. Most investors choose DSCR even if the cost is substantially more. And the final 2 demos here, always something to talk about, new programs. Typically, our customers in this market have a low first mortgage, a low rate first mortgage, and still need some cash out. Their only options typically are a HELOC. We now have fixed rate second mortgage options to compare to a HELOC, and these rates are much lower and not variable because they are fixed rates. So these are great options for our customers needing to get cash out that don't want to touch their first mortgage. For a primary home, we can get rates as low as 8.5, final APR 8.930. And these are non-human programs. We can use bank statements and similar. And for our investors out there, HELOCs are very rare for investments, so great option to get cash out of an investment property up to 80 LTV in this example, rates as low as 9.875, final APR 10.093. So those are some amazing new program options. Let's get into our topic for today. Jose is going to reintroduce us. We've done this a few times to ITIN Borrower Loan. So yesterday we went over 4 nationals. 4 nationals are not ITIN borrowers, and ITIN borrowers are not citizens, right? So there's a big difference. So Jose, let's talk about the differences first, and then let's check out our programs that are eligible for our ITIN borrowers that are true ITINs.
Awesome. So let's discuss the different, categories regarding statuses, right? Our U.S. citizens are definitely always applicable for every product. Our U.S. permanent resident aliens, or green card holders, as they like to call it, also are applicable for all of our regular products. And then where it starts differentiating here is when we start talking about non-permanent resident aliens, right? Technically, non-permanent resident aliens are legally authorized to work in the U.S. And if they're going to qualify for any of the regular products available to our U.S. nationals, they also have to have U.S.-based credit and U.S.-based income, or whatever may be the income type loan that they're qualifying for. Now, the ITIN borrower, even though we may categorize them as a non-permanent resident alien for purposes of pricing, the ITIN borrower does not have a document legally authorizing them to work in the U.S., nor do they have legal status in the U.S. However, they are living permanently in the U.S., and in order to qualify for any of these ITIN loan options that I'm going to be showing you shortly, they also have to be deriving their income from the U.S. And have U.S.-based credit. So U.S.-based credit, deriving the income, or depending on the income type, obviously, that we're talking about, from the U.S., but do not need to have legal status in the U.S. They just need to have an ITIN right? The ITIN card or the ITIN document. So let me go ahead and share these options with you because we have all types of options for ITIN or full doc option. Now, typically the ITIN borrower is going, if their full doc is going to be self-employed or some type of alt doc because they're, due to the nature of the fact that they do not have a social security number, they have an ITIN. That's just a number that allows, it's an identification number which allows them to file tax returns, but it's not an official social security number. So the ITIN borrower would never have a W-2. If they have a W-2, then be aware there may be an issue with the documentation. So our first option here, actually, let me go to our full doc primary purchase. 85% LTV is our maximum LTV for our ITIN borrower here, and some great rates. 8.375 is our lowest cost option at a cost of 1.625 points. And you can buy that down to 7.999 at a cost of 2.25 points for our full doc 85% primary purchase. Great news is we have plenty of alt doc options for our ITIN borrower. Here's our primary bank statement option, also at 85% LTV, just a slight increase in the cost of the rate there. 8.375 lowest cost option at a cost of 1.875 points, and you can buy that down again to 7.999 at a cost of 2.5 points. And it gets even better for our ITIN self-employed borrowers here, right? We had bank statement. Now we have our 1099 option. Now this one does drop the LTV to 80%, which is the more standard LTV, but you have some great options here. 8.875 is at par, and you can buy that down all the way to 7.75% for our 1099 documentation primary purchase for an ITIN. 80%, only 20% down. Great news keeps coming now because now we have a P&L option, profit and loss for our ITIN borrower, self-employed, of course. Should they have any issues with the bank statements, the P&L is the great workaround. 80% LTV for that one. 8.875 is our lowest cost option, and you can buy that down to 7.75% at a cost of 2.375 points. And now our favorite for our investors out there, our ITIN DSCR purchase. And the best news is 80% LTV. Yes, we do have an 80% LTV option for our ITIN borrowers, this option with only a 3-year prepayment penalty. And look at those rates, 9.375 lowest cost option at par, and you can buy that down all the way to 7.875 at a cost of 3.35 points. And now for our last two options, our cash out. So our ITIN investment cash out option using bank statements, 75% max LTV on that one. And look at those rates, smoking. 7.999 is at par with a cost of 1.875 points, and you can buy that down all the way to 7.25% at a cost of 3.375 points for our bank statement cash out ITIN option. And the last of our ITIN options here is, again, our favorite, our flagship program, the DSCR loan. This is an ITIN DSCR cash out refi at 70% LTV, which is the maximum LTV for this product option. And 8.625 is our lowest cost option at a cost of half a point. And you can buy that down all the way to 6.875 at a cost of 3.475 points for ITIN DSCR investment cash out at an amazing 70% LTV. So you saw our 4 national options yesterday, our ITIN borrowers option today, and we have plenty of regular quote unquote borrower options for our national borrowers. So definitely look to the mortgage calculator for all of your loan needs.
Thank you, Jose. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in, but definitely great topic here today. And again, building on what we were doing yesterday with the foreign nationals. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Remember that we do this show at 11 a.m. Eastern every weekday where we go through our live rates and then do a deep dive into a different loan type. So we will see you all tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, for the next episode.